Hello, welcome to Phil and Ted's Sexy Boomer Show. I'm Ted Bonnet.
Yeah, I'm a slightly wet Phil Proctor, but that's the nature of our world here. At least it stopped raining in the studio.
Yes,
because they it's not that they did anything to the roof.
No,
but there's a bunch of volunteers lying across the ceiling, absorbing the water.
Fantastic.
I know. Well, you have to think in new ways to survive in this world.
In honor of the storm, it wasn't a perfect opportunity to have an Englishman as our guest.
Well, how do you equate that with this storm?
The rain.
Oh, rain.
Try to keep up, Phil.
I'm sorry. I'll get my pun dictionary out. We'll have a good old punny time. Anyway, we have a wonderful guest with us today to cheer us up and chase the storm clouds away.
Actor, writer, and social activist Ian Ruskin.
Yes, a wet Englishman, but thank you so much.
But that's
I just feel so at home.
You wouldn't notice that. Every Englishman is slightly damp.
Well, thank you for saying that, Mr. Proctor. That's
very
kind of you.
Always a warm welcome.
You are English, but you also spent a lot of time, you told us at lunch, in America when you were growing up.
Yes, I did. I spent more, until I was 13, I mainly lived in America. Then we went back to England. But,
well, tell me, did you have an American accent?
I remember back in England having to get rid of certain words. Banana. It was very hard to say banana.
Oh, I see.
And
bandana. Bandana.
Tomato.
Did you have an American accent in England?
I to some extent, yes, because I kind of grew up, although my mother always had her English accent at home. Mm-hmm. So it was a mix, I think. And I do know when I went to drama school, they almost beat me about my American L's and R's being in the back of the R's and things. I can't do an American accent to save my life today.
That's wild.
Your training at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London probably cured you of all of American accents.
They tried to beat it out of me, yes.
I think they did. You speak beautifully. I think they did a great job.
Oh, thank you very much. That's ever so kind of you.
And you are, after training, you were a veteran of the stage in London. You did a lot of plays there.
Yes.
And you...
Were you doing classical Shakespearean stuff? Or
a whole mix of Shakespeare, Ibsen, playwrights like that.
Wonderful.
A wonderful Pinter, Edward Bond. I mean, just a whole mix
that's super.
Wonderful playwrights.
But then you came over to the United States and also continued to act.
Yes. Mainly I did episodic television. Mm-hmm. This is in the late 80s. Mm-hmm. Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Yep,
MacGyver,
I did one of those. Yeah.
Murder, She Wrote. Scarecrow and Mrs. King was not written by a great playwright. So it was different.
Right.
Let me say.
And which led you to what you have become known for, which was you were feeling somewhat unfulfilled creatively by these roles you were playing.
Yeah, I wonder why.
TV wasn't enough.
When you go to drama school, you do great plays. And by great, I think Noel Coward is a great playwright.
Absolutely.
But you do, whether they're funny or sad or whatever, and you have a sense that you're affecting people, you are moving people, and that's what I missed. That sense of
community in a way.
Connecting.
Yeah.
People would leave the theater a bit richer than when they came in because of the play.
That's right. I always felt that way about theater too, and to this day I do that. We're telling stories, we're dramatizing stories, and the fact that the people respond to it is so important for us as performers. And sometimes when you get an audience they might be we loved the play, but they don't laugh or applaud, as much as most people. Then you play for one another.
Yeah.
And that's a great joy.
Yes,
as well.
That, of course, is something I have not done for a long time.
Because you're doing a one-man show.
Yes.
So this was interesting, and we're going just a little tip here for where we're going with this show is that you have done one-man shows where you research and embody what I would say are true heretics, truly
I love it.
Truly rebellious, brilliant,
Mavericks,
underappreciated in some respects,
Yes.
namely Thomas Paine and Nikola Tesla. So this is really a great opportunity for Phil and I, because we want to ask Thomas Paine what the heck happened to common sense, and we clearly would like to know what Tesla thinks about having a car company named after him. And,
Yes.
and Nikola.
There's debate about.
And there's
banana.
There's a hydrogen-powered trucking company named after him.
That's right.
His first name.
The Nikola.
Did this happen to you, where you embodied these really wonderfully interesting people when you were cast in a role of Harry Bridges? Am I correct
Yes.
in that? And Harry is a little lesser known than the two others, but he was really an amazing person, a union activist before union activism was a popular.
Yes, before it
Was
existed.
Bridges
Right.
American?
He was Australian.
He was Australian.
So we're going to spend the bulk of our time talking about Tesla and the quirks of him and Thomas Paine, who burned every bridge imaginable, even
Except Harry Bridges.
Yeah. Briefly, talk about a little bit why you chose. Well, you didn't choose; you were cast, but
We did a performance or a rehearsed reading of the Bridges play, not my play, but another play about Bridges, to his union at their convention in downtown Los Angeles, as it happened that year.
What union?
This is the ILWU, the International Longshore and Warehouse Union.
Oh.
They're
Tough crowd.
The dock workers, the ones with the big cranes,
Oh,
unload the ships.
Yeah.
So we did this, and the audience rose and cheered for 10 minutes.
Oh my
Really?
goodness!
And because they sometimes hated, but they mainly loved Harry Bridges.
Wow.
And all these guys came up to me afterwards and said, You're Harry. You look like Harry. You sound like Harry. You got to do Harry. And it was, and I thought, this is what's been missing for me.
Interesting.
And that's where it took years for me to
catalyst.
A direct connection.
Yeah, that I had done something that the audience got and inspired them.
What was the worthiness of Harry Bridges?
Well, he came to San Francisco. He'd been a sailor. He had picked up a lot of Marxist ideas.
What years?
1919. Sorry, he arrived in San Francisco.
He was born in 1901.
Yeah, in Melbourne.
Okay.
So he arrives and he also got to know the Wobblies, the IWW, which was an American organization, but very radical, because a lot of sailors were Wobblies. So he arrives.
Well, that's because of the pitch of the ship, you know.
That's right. Yeah, that's right, mate. You know that,
He's sliding from side to side.
That's right.
It's difficult to walk like a wobbly kind of way.
Yes, right. Otherwise, it's very shaky. Yeah, they were going to call them the Shakers, but they decided on the Wobblies. Yeah. So he was unusual in that sense, and he had a vision. He also had almost a photographic memory of. He read everything of Jack London. He read Marx. He read and read and read, and and also Australia, which was the most unionized country in the world at that time.
Really.
So he said, we should be like the post office in Australia. We should be run by the workers. It's very simple to him.
Was he the father of the modern union movement, would you say, here in America?
Well, different unions might have different opinions about that. Yeah. But I would say he often led the way in terms of the things. He was fighting for a national health care system.
He's like a firebrand.
Right? For pensions. Nobody had pensions. For dental insurance, that was insane.
Wow.
A
like
guy
pulling teeth.
Well, yeah, right. One guy told me, Harry got up there and said, one day you're going to have dental insurance. And we all said, what you been smoking, Harry? Nobody else talked like that.
Wow.
And then it gradually came to happen. So he was revolutionary in that
he must
sense.
have been a favorite of the captains of industry at the time.
Well, they loved him that he understood that you have to give and take with an industry, that he loved the industry. Also, he was absolutely honest. Somebody told me if Harry had $20 in his pocket, he was a rich man. You couldn't bribe him. But if he shook your hand on a deal, you had a deal.
It was done.
And so the other side liked that.
Because they needed their workers to be reasonably content.
Yes, there are still managements that don't understand that it's sometimes worth paying the workers a little bit more so they really are happy. They stay with you. They don't leave the company. You don't have to train new people. And they feel a connection.
A lot of that became obvious during the COVID epidemic, and there are many people now who don't want to return to work for the salary that they, But Harry was the head of the union for a long time. How many
40 years as president.
Wow.
Of a union of truly tough guys.
Oh, tough guys. And people have said it was like herding cats. I mean, I know that's a common expression, but it really, I've seen them in action. And there are stories. When Harry got up to speak, they have a tradition. You can go up to the mic on the floor of the hall, line up to have your say. The moment he stood up, there'd be 30 guys there waiting to tell Harry what they thought. But he loved that. That was what he thought a union should be.
And the unions have been systematically dismantled over the years.
Starting from the Reagan years.
But it was interesting the other day, that Senate hearing where that Republican senator who's a wealthy...
Oh, the Teamsters.
The Teamsters head was testifying.
Scrooge McDuck?
He took this plutocrat to task and said, "You want to go outside?" He held the upper hand. He just so it's still a fight that continues today.
Oh, yes. And there's hope. There's hope with Starbucks and Amazon. And, it goes up and down. But there are new people wanting to be in unions.
That's right.
Yeah.
To unionize. So this was your inspiration to what basically do a one-person show? That was like one performance that you did.
Well,
right?
yeah. See, what happened was this was a cast of 12. And everybody loved it. And nobody could afford it to put it on as a union production.
I see.
And then I thought, well, what if I wrote a one-man play? Now, it took me 5 years to even start writing.
Wow.
To get up the confidence. But, that was where the idea came.
Beat the unions.
Sorry?
To beat the unions, because you couldn't do the 12-man.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's right. It's kind of ironic that, equity, God bless them, but nobody would put up the money.
Right.
And it was a play about a union troublemaker, who was accused of being a communist. So, but for the one-man play, it's cheaper.
And you did this for how long? And how'd your first performance go? And what was that all about?
I've done Harry for 20 years now. I've done maybe 400 times.
Wow.
The first performance was in Seattle, thank goodness, in a little tiny kind of black box.
Yeah.
I did 3 shows. Because then I came back to L.A., went to San Pedro, to the Warner Grand Theater, which is an incredible 1,500-seat theater.
I've performed in some of those great
with a tremendous union community.
Oh, I did this one-man show on this stage bigger than most theaters to 1,000 longshoremen.
Oh,
wow!
And it was just incredible.
Oh,
it was amazing.
Now, these shows are recorded. Is there any way for people to see this if they?
Oh yeah, we've made films of the Bridges and the Paine plays, and Haskell Wexler was my director.
Oh, I worked with him too.
You cannot get anyone better in the world.
The best
director of
So
photography.
can people find these now?
Yeah, they're if you go to ruskinproductions.com, which is my overall company, there's a page called The Shop. In the shop, you can get all kinds of things, including these.
So the Harry Bridges thing struck a nerve. It took off. This is what you realized ignited you and excited you. And then you took on another utopian, if you will, rebel rouser, heretic, Thomas
to
Paine,
home.
the father of the American Revolution.
Yes.
What a fascinating person to have done such great things and yet to be so reviled. Just
his life is a roller coaster like nobody else's. Yeah. His friends were Franklin and Jefferson and Washington, and he mixed with the French court and all that. Mm-hmm. When he came back to America, finally, towards the end of his life, people spat at him. He criticized the American Revolution. He did not succeed in the way he wanted. And then he wrote Rights of Man, which was very much about bringing down monarchies.
He really had it out for King George.
Well, he had it out for monarchies, the institution of monarchy. And Rights of Man was about human rights also, when nobody talked about human rights for peasants. And then he attacked George Washington, which was like shooting God.
Don't do that.
And then he had Age of Reason, where he basically took the Bible apart page by page. So by the time he got back to America, he was mainly hated.
He was an interesting person in that timing is everything. 1774, he's introduced to Ben Franklin in London.
Yes.
And they hit it off. Ben Franklin had a publishing concern, newspaper.
Yep.
And he somehow convinced Thomas Paine to come over to the U.S.
Well, yeah, he wrote letters of recommendation for Paine, which is Benjamin Franklin was the most famous man in America.
That's right.
So that's a gold stamp.
I do want to just mention that I have played both Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Paine in the Pups of Liberty, Benjamin Franklin.
It went to the dogs, that production.
Yeah, but the Pups of Liberty, I recommend to people. It's created by these two lovely people to tell the story of the American Revolution to children through the use of dogs.
I'm going to check it out.
The red cats and are coming. Anyway, just wanted a quick aside.
But so Thomas Paine was already a rebel rouser and an idealist to the extreme, and Ben Franklin saw something in him and suggested that he come over because the action was in the colonies at this point, 2 years before the actual revolution. And as I understand it, he came over to the U.S. and he was a great publisher. And he turned around a failing a newspaper or magazine. And
he worked for it's called the Pennsylvania Magazine.
Yeah.
And it was a magazine full of like illustrations of deer and fairies and stuff. And he started writing articles. He was hired as the editor about getting rid of the monarchy, which of course was treason. The publication of it became a very popular magazine, and then he wrote Common Sense.
Now at the time, to help people understand the context of Common Sense, pamphlets. This was a 47-page pamphlet. This was sort of the media of the time. It was easily written, published, and distributed.
And dangerous.
So many people did not read, so people were reading to groups of people, and it spread.
Well, see, that you could have done that for a living.
I would have had. I could at the taverns. I could have gone from tavern to tavern,
from tavern to tavern,
until I finally fell down,
crawling from pub to pub.
This is how things got started 2 years before the Revolution. So he was at the right place at the right time, and Ben Franklin was prescient enough to see that potential.
Yes, yeah.
So that's how Thomas Paine got set up in the United States as an Englishman.
Right, and what Paine did, what made him dangerous, was he wrote in language that the common man, we'll call him, could understand. He wrote in short, simple sentences. There were lots of people writing about the Enlightenment, where a sentence would take an entire page.
Yes.
By the time you get to the end, you've forgotten what it was about.
Yeah, like German.
Yeah. But he just said simple things, and that's why he was dangerous, because the average farmer and indentured servant would hear it or read it either way and understand it and say, yes, this makes sense.
So he was a revolutionary.
Oh, absolutely.
In the sense of promoting this idea of independence. So he was dangerous to, obviously, the British.
Right, but also, too, there were plenty of people in America who were loyalists and royalists and who wanted nothing to do with revolution, who had a very nice, comfortable life, thank you very much, rich merchants and people who had a nice relationship with England. And, the idea of fighting England was beyond a lot of people's understanding.
It would be a disruption of trade, which was the life's blood of many of the early Americans.
Absolutely. Then, of course, when Paine said there should be no slaves.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was an abolitionist.
Yes.
Before that was a thing.
Yes. Yeah, he was one of the first.
So in a sense, he was a futurist.
Yes. He in the 1790s, he wrote Agrarian Justice, which is basically a rough draft of the New Deal. of Roosevelt. And in fact, on the Social Security website, they have the entire text of agrarian justice on the website.
That's wonderful.
And he wrote that in 1790s.
Common Sense is still regarded as one of the great pieces of literature. And yet, everybody hated him.
Well, he attacked God. And by then, America was a very puritanical country.
Theistic.
How did he attack God?
Went through the Bible, page 1. That's disgusting. That should be cut out. That's the work of the devil. That's how he did it, basically.
Wow.
He was a deist, as were almost all the founding fathers.
Yes, right.
And he believed in a power that created everything. He was not an atheist or an agnostic. He was a deist. He didn't believe you have to have men in robes to tell you about God.
He didn't like the institutionalized power grab that came with organized religion.
Absolutely. He said, you want to talk to God? Go for a walk in the woods. That's where God is.
So Native Americans probably had a great appreciation for that.
He felt like a brother to them, basically. Yeah, it was, and there are, there's a wonderful book called Nature's God, because that was one of the ideas in the Enlightenment. But again, you had these 200-word sentences that the average guy would forget this.
You get bored.
Whereas Paine would write very short little statements.
So he was a great communicator.
Oh, I think he was. The word propagandist doesn't have a good reputation now,
not
but
today.
it used to. And I think he was the greatest propagandist ever in the English language.
Is it truthful to say that Common Sense, the pamphlet, is proportionately the greatest selling piece of literature ever?
Yes, they say it is. It's something like the equivalent of selling 60 million copies of a book now.
Wow, it's almost in Bible territory.
Well, yes, there is a point to play where I say even I would not challenge the Bible. But after the Bible, I think it was proportionally the greatest selling book in American history.
So what happened to him? I mean, he ended up going back to France, I understand, correct?
Well, he went to France and England. He went back and forth between England and France.
And he was, of course, he annoyed people there and was incarcerated as well at one point.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Where, in France?
Yeah.
Spent 10 months in Luxembourg prison, which was a very nice prison, but nevertheless.
As prisons go.
Yes.
It's a B&B now, actually.
No, it's a palace again now. I've been there.
Oh, it is.
Actually, it might be a B&B, because I was there years ago,
So what did he do to get jailed in Luxembourg?
Well, technically, he was an Englishman, and France was at war with England, and he was arrested for being an Englishman.
So it was an internment of sorts.
Sorry?
It was an internment camp of sorts.
Yes, but there were lots of English who were not arrested. But what he did in the French Assembly, where he was a delegate representing Calais, he argued to spare the life of the king. And that did not go down well.
So he was an anti-institutionalist.
Yes, he said every monarch should be given the distinct privilege of becoming private citizens.
Wow.
Don't chop off their heads, just make them private citizens.
Okay, so he annoyed the power structure.
Yes.
And the power structure influenced public opinion against him. Is that how it went? I mean, were the people disgusted with him at some point?
The people in France, I don't think you would say were against him in the way that the people of America were.
But that was because of the religious angle.
Mainly, yes. Because already, in France, there was that division of church and state.
Yes.
Which was pretty serious and is still there today, fundamentally. Whereas, I say, America was a puritanical nation by 1800.
Right.
He was British born, so he couldn't become president. Was that the Constitution even back in the Revolutionary days?
I think so. In fact, when he returned to America in 1802, they wouldn't let him vote because they said, you're an Englishman.
Oh, that must have really...
And he said, I started the revolution.
That's very ironic, isn't it?
Was he an angry guy?
Yeah, in a way, yes. He did say, I am a citizen of the world, which sounds great, except it means you're not pledging your allegiance to any
particular country.
So everybody rejects you.
That's what I said to my wife, Melinda, when we were courting. Quite seriously. She asked me something about myself, and I said I consider myself a citizen of the world.
Well, there you go.
And I understand that. Now, these are wonderful ideas. How have you embodied them in a play? How is it one act?
Yes.
Okay, and you come on as Paine, or do
Yes.
you introduce him?
No, I come on. I come on as
Thomas
Paine. I always think with a one-man play,
Yes.
don't give an intermission because they might not come back.
Of course.
So get it done. My plays are all around 70 minutes.
That's
And that's about
perfectly
long
fine.
enough, I
Yeah.
think. I come on as Paine, and Paine, they're all slightly different, but Paine kind of comes out of the shadows, whereas Harry Bridges is set in 1965 in his life. But with Paine, he comes back to tell you his story. But I just come out and tell the story, basically.
Do you annoy the audience?
Can't wait to see it.
Annoy them?
Yeah.
Well, not as much as I sometimes hope. The thing is, most of my audiences, they're lovely audiences, they already love Paine. I want to do Paine for some people who do not love Paine. But it's hard to get them to come.
Right.
But I'm working on that.
Yeah, but Paine was a pain. As we said. Right.
My best joke in the play is when he enlisted and he was made a major, so he became a Major Paine. Thank you very much. Massive applause.
Is there a particular passage that you like to read that's part of the show?
Give us a taste.
I'll make a very quick. Here we have the sound of rustling paper.
He is actually looking at a script.
This is from. This is like a short page from Rights of Man, Part First, written in England.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Paine.
Every individual is born equal in rights with his contemporary. It is the living, not the dead, that are to be accommodated. When man ceases to be, his power and his wants cease with him. Governments have no rights, only duty to their citizens. War. War is the common harvest of all those who participate in the division and expenditure of public money. In despotic governments, wars are the effect of pride, but in those governments in which they become the means of taxation, they acquire a more permanent habitualness. Taxes are not raised to carry on wars, but rather wars are raised to carry on taxes. War is the art of conquering at home.
Ooh, that's so pertinent.
No.
I read a quote from Winston Churchill in the latest issue of The Week, a magazine that I love to read every week. And he basically said that in this little quote. But war is perpetual to man, he said. And that even before there were any institutions or anything, there was warfare between people, and obviously he understands that. And just recently, our president has asked for an increased budget for the military. And I think that's absolutely brilliant, the way that he understood that.
Yeah, and the line, war is the art of conquering at home.
That's right.
It doesn't matter whether you conquer the enemy.
Propaganda, again.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's the outside threat that always is the greatest tool.
Yes. Margaret Thatcher was about to lose being the Prime Minister of England. Her ratings were terrible, and the Falkland War, she got this huge majority in an election because we beat the Argentinians.
It was the biggest anticipated war because it took 2 weeks to sail down there.
Yeah, right. You had a slight delay, but
Move the penguins.
yeah.
What was, if you will, allow the expression, the square up with Thomas Paine? He ended up dying in Greenwich Village, Grove Street. Building's not there, but he died there. But it wasn't a simple death, was it? I mean, it didn't end there.
Well, no, because he died there at the home of a supporter. That was very important to him. But he died, and he wanted to be buried in a Quaker graveyard, and the Quakers refused.
Really?
Because he had criticized them in the Revolution for not joining the war, remaining as pacifists. So he was buried on the land of his farm in New Rochelle. So you think that's the end of the story. So William Cobbett, who was a man who hated Paine above all others, had this change of mind. And 10 years later, he dug the bones up and he took them to England. He announced at the customs in Liverpool he had the mortal remains of the immortal Thomas Paine. And on the way to London, the other little story I love is in Bolton, which is near Manchester. The town crier announced him passing through the town, for which the town crier was put in prison for 3 months.
Good.
Just for announcing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Cobbett's idea was that they would build a statue, but he would exhibit the bones to raise money to build a giant statue of Thomas Paine. And nobody could care less at that point about giving 3 pence for Thomas Paine's bones. And then the bones disappeared. No one knows where they are to this day.
Is that right?
They've gone. They've disappeared.
Make no bones about it.
But there was some speculation that you mentioned earlier. That was
Actually, there is a woman in Australia who claims to have his jawbone, but the people disregard that. They think that's crazy. But there is also a story that a lot of English nobility got hold of some of the bones and had them ground up as dust and put into the soles of their shoes, into the heels, so they could step on Thomas Paine as they walked.
What a hero.
I mean, it's so appropriate that he was a citizen of the world, and his bones disappeared into who knows
the
where.
world, somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very strange.
What year was that the bones were brought
That would have
over?
been 1819, roughly.
Okay.
1819, 1920.
Just to get a
1820.
context.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. So here's a man that we look up to as the father of the American Revolution. And to this day, if you think about it.
And he is,
Yeah.
except he's not taught as being a founding father. People don't really call him a
that's
founding
right.
Well, because
father.
he was more of an agitator and a
Yeah, he was
propagandist.
working class. Founding fathers were all fairly rich. They all had land and estates, and they were well off mostly. Paine really had nothing. He was English. He was 37 when he arrived. So he was an outsider, definitely.
He was the ultimate rebel.
Yes, I think absolutely.
The ultimate rebel. He was speaking truth to power, even back then.
He had a great influence, you know.
That's what you get for being woke, even back then.
How do you end your Paine piece?
Oh,
You know,
you see, that's
you
that's a
brought
good
him back
question.
from the shadows, and
Well, it was the hardest part to write because the Paine's end was not a happy one.
right.
So I didn't want to leave people. Oh, that was a bummer.
Oh, depressed. Yeah.
But Paine was always optimistic. So I end the play with if you like, an appeal from Paine to make the world a better place. That you can still do that today, like I tried to do in my life.
That's lovely.
And then we go to blackout.
That's
And look where it got me.
Yeah. No, you mustn't say that.
now
But it is.
and you have been a citizen of the world. You've been touring this play all over the.
Yes,
all
yes.
over
How is the response in modern day response? I mean, obviously you address both this duality of this man.
Well, it's interesting in England because I've done now 3 little tours. I've got a bigger one coming up. Where I'm actually going to. I'm going to
yes, tell us
perform
about it.
Paine for the English Parliament and the Scottish Parliament.
Oh,
Wow.
Which is, I mean, not in the chambers,
Right.
but in a big room there, which is going to be really interesting.
oh, that must be
Very interesting. I mean, I'm also going to perform in people's museums and in theatres and all kinds of places.
Well, you must actually feel a terrific kind of a glow performing in historic in historic places. you
Yes,
know.
I'm also going to perform at Benjamin Franklin House in London, which is where Paine went and Franklin wrote the letters of recommendation. I'm going to be in the room
Where they met.
that's
where he wrote those letters.
in the room where it happened.
I mean, you can't really get better than that.
No,
I mean,
that's
it's just
wonderful,
amazing.
wonderful.
And hopefully someday you'll perform here in the Los Angeles area where people can see this.
Performances of Paine?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm anywhere, all the time.
Have you performed in Los Angeles?
I have, yes. I mean, we actually did a run of the Paine play and the Bridges play. Oh God, like 9 years ago, but I had just written it in 2 little theatres, and that was great. And I've performed I perform in community colleges, and
Right.
unions and places like that. I would love to do more public performances. I mean, in a theatre.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
because
That's
I'd love
great.
it if
Yeah.
that could happen.
let's move on to a really fascinating character, at least for me, Mr. Tesla.
Yes, oh God.
Again, another underdog in a way, another brilliant, gifted futurist visionary who stuck so hard to his principles that he paid a big price for it and annoyed the wrong people like Thomas Edison.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a threat to him. I actually played Thomas Edison in a radio adaptation of the story of Tesla before a live audience at the Geffen Playhouse. And he was a threat to Edison in many ways because Edison had so many patents. And it basically had to do with the broadcast of electricity, didn't it?
Yes, the great battle, the War of the Currents was between Tesla and Edison. Edison believed in direct current, and Tesla believed in alternating current.
AC?
Which allowed for much more efficient transmission of power.
Well, yes, DC is very safe, but you can only send it about 3 miles, and then you have to go into another charging
Well, that's why they
station.
call it Washington, D.C.
So alternating current solved that.
Alternating current goes really almost as far as you want it to. I mean, the world is lit with alternating current.
So Edison, when he saw the threat coming, did an ugly propaganda move where he electrocuted an elephant as a stunt to show how dangerous Tesla's AC was. I mean, the reason we have Hollywood in large part is because they had to get away from Edison and his predatory patent
Edison
behavior.
made early movies. He made a movie of Frankenstein.
In New Jersey.
On the Palisades, the cliffs of the Palisades over by Fort Lee. And he was so oppressive that they just went out to California to get away from him.
He paid a quarter to kids to bring him stray cats and dogs that he also electrocuted.
With AC.
Yeah, with AC.
Jesus.
Was that like a hobby with him?
He was just, it was a desperate
Bring your
attempt.
strays.
The war he'd already lost the war, but he had to keep trying.
Boy, that sure says a lot.
I'm so sorry you had to play him, but you survived very well. Thank goodness.
I was just acting.
Unfortunately, have about 15 minutes, and I really want to pack in Tesla here. Right. Now, if you could just briefly tell us where he came from, what brought him to America, and how did he find himself working for Edison as a young man in Edison's lab, and how this all started?
Okay, well, he was born in what is now Croatia, which was sort of regarded as being part of Serbia at the time, which is why Serbia claims him today as being Serbian, and Croatia now is saying, hey, wait a minute, he was born. So there's a little bit of a fight going on there. He came on a ship to New York with a letter of recommendation. He'd worked for Edison's head man in France, who recommended Tesla to Edison. Tesla arrived. Apparently, his money was stolen on the voyage, and he had 4 pennies in his pocket. Is the story,
which is the beginning of his up and downs financially.
Yes, right. And he walked to Edison's laboratory and introduced himself, and he had the letter, and he started working for Tesla. For Edison, from that day, they had a big bust up. Now, this is a story, there is some disagreement, but Tesla said he could improve Edison's dynamos on ships and things and generators. And Edison said, if you could do that, I'll pay you $50,000. Tesla worked for over a year. He would work like 16 to 18 hours a day, and he did it. And the story is he went to Tesla and said, I'd like my money now. And Tesla said, Edison, Edison said, that's just American humor. When you're an American, you'll understand.
Funny guy.
So Tesla said, F you, and left and actually spent 2 years digging ditches for Edison's wiring.
Good heavens.
And then
for
finally,
like 2 cents a day or something crazy? Or
he made, I think he might have made $1 a day. But it's not, and Tesla did not like being in dirt either, so that was hard.
Now, he was a tall man, very thin.
He was tall, slim.
Strange sleeping and eating habits. He was an eccentric.
I think eccentric's a nice word, He had aversions to germs. He was kind of obsessed with the number 3. He wore gloves a lot of the time. He couldn't bear pearls. I still don't know why he couldn't bear a woman wearing pearls. He would sleep. Often he would do these 20-minute what are called power naps.
Mm-hmm. Power naps.
But he would do those over 3 days and just keep working. He had...
Yeah, he once worked supposedly 84 hours straight or something.
Oh, yeah, I think he worked, something like that once because he had to finish something. He usually worked alone, maybe with one assistant. And he would, when he would get to his hotel, he always lived in hotels in New York. Hardly ever paid the bills, but he lived in hotels until he got kicked out.
He would run up the equivalent of $500,000 bills and then move to the next one.
He said, I'll go somewhere else.
You'd think they would have used Bell's technology to call each other. Somehow he did that.
By the way, do you know what Edison wanted people to say when they picked up the phone?
What?
Ahoy. Instead of hello.
Ahoy.
He wanted them to say, ahoy.
Huh. That didn't go too well.
No.
I read a very sad story, if it's true, about Edison, that there was a point where when he was the 50th anniversary of his light bulb or something, there was going to be this big celebration in New York of Edison. And he went to the train station to get on the train to go. And he never got on. And the train left and he went home. That's what I've read. As if there was something in him that he couldn't quite go and have everybody clapping and...
But he has a hotel in New York.
But Tesla,
right.
Who never married, yet in the occasional social setting, impressed the ladies.
Oh, yes. He had lots of ladies after him.
So do you think that he had a normal sexual appetite? That he just didn't want to get into relationships?
That's a controversial question. I'm pretty sure he never had sexual relations with a woman. After that, it gets more murky. He did say how a man cannot make great inventions when he has a wife and a family. They're too distracting.
But a pigeon.
He did love his pigeon.
That was really interesting to us. He had a relationship with a female pigeon, evidently, that he claimed to have a real relationship with. I don't think it got physical.
No, but this pigeon flew into his hotel room with a broken wing, is the story that he tells. And he healed her wing, and then she flew off, and then he'd go to the park every day to feed pigeons.
He walked 10 to 13 miles a day, evidently. He was a big walker.
Yes, he walked a lot. But this pigeon was white, and this pigeon would come to him particularly. And he said that also then they came to a point where she flew into his hotel room one night. He said with a light coming out of her eyes brighter than any light I have ever produced, and died. And he said, something in my life died.
I've talked to other inventors. Like, how do you get your inspiration? It's been described to me as just literally a download. He would see light in his mind's eye, and this was some sort of a transmission to him, or at least a thought process or an epiphany. He was a brilliant mathematician. They thought he cheated in school because he was so good at calculations. Yep. And so he would get this inspiration, this energy, if you will, that represented light to him. And then it was just like he all the dimensions, all the specs were all there.
That he designed things in his head. And he said to put it down on paper was simple. I just drew it.
Many.
And he would not only design it, he would let it run in his head to see where it would wear out.
Interesting.
Beautiful. And many composers have said the same thing.
Yes.
You know? And Hitchcock said the same thing. Once that he got the story in his head, he was done with it.
I use the music of Mozart in the play.
Okay.
Because Mozart would write a symphony in one go.
Yeah.
Hardly any corrections at all.
Yeah.
Nothing crossed out.
One of the big things is this notion of wirelessly transmitting energy. And he built two magnificent structures.
Yes.
One on Long Island, New York, and one in Colorado. I think when he was skipping on a hotel bill. There's that famous photograph of him with the sparks flying all around him in the arcs. And he actually blew out the local substation out there.
Yes.
Tell us, in the time we have left, perhaps give us a little montage of these wonderful things that he did.
Well, he invented the alternating current induction motor. He invented, and that is the machine that runs just about everything that moves in the world. So that's one thing. The wireless electricity. I mean, he basically invented radio, X-rays. I mean, there's a huge list.
And all of these things happened about the same time when it was emerging, and the other people like Marconi,
who was his assistant for quite a while.
Somehow he got the credit.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's a long, complicated thing that. But the wireless electricity, he believed that if you could either find the resonance of the earth, of the ground, you could send electricity over vast distances, or he believed that if you could get it up into the ionosphere, you could send it vast distances.
So in other words, whatever was conductive.
Yes. Now, the physicists today still say that it would not have gone very far. It would take too much energy to send it. Yeah. So that's open to debate. He never got a chance because they blew up. They blew up Walden Cliff. They tore down Colorado.
Those were real estate venturists
in Colorado.
No, in Long Island.
Oh no, it's because he owed money to Morgan.
Oh,
and he couldn't get any more. And Morgan he just said tear it down. But he also talked about cosmic energy. And to me, cosmic energy is what is called nuclear fusion.
My goodness.
And if we ever achieve nuclear fusion, the world will totally change.
Then we've tapped into that resonance that he was talking about.
But we're getting closer.
Yes, we are.
For the first time, they've actually had more energy come out than put in. But
That's
it's only
right.
tiny bits. But Tesla talked about, he said there will be no need for coal, oil, gas, any of that. He said that.
Now, see, there's a parallel to Thomas Paine. He just completely annoyed the wrong people.
Is that what caught your fancy?
He talked about getting rid of the oil industry, the copper industry, because you'd have no wires, and wires are made of copper.
That's right.
That was a huge industry.
They're still trying to resolve that issue.
Yes. So he wanted all that going. He said, we don't need that. We just need cosmic energy. And it's there.
Wow.
And then there was this controversy over, now he did have apparently around 300 patents.
300.
300 even?
Yeah.
But he had something that was maligned by the press or misrepresented by the press, this teleforce, this sort of magical beam weapon. He said that.
Yes, the peace
beam.
or death beam. Yeah,
he said it was never a beam; it was projectiles.
It was like a cannon.
Yeah.
That fired out highly charged particles that would take down a plane, like a laser.
And that was ignored.
Yeah. Well, and the Navy are now developing a laser beam for that purpose.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he predicted he wanted to create radar, and the person who said no to that was the man in charge of naval research by the name of Thomas Edison.
No.
Oh,
yes.
What a surprise.
So,
interesting, he also said that he did not believe in telepathy. Telepathy was not, he was quoted as saying, suppose I made up my mind to murder you. In a second, you would know it. Now, isn't that wonderful? He said, by what process did the mind get at all this? That was his quote to that.
That's new to me. Okay, there's always something new with Tesla.
Are you constructing your play right now?
Well, it's basically written.
But you haven't performed it yet.
I've performed it 2 or 3 times over a number of years, actually, that I go back to the drawing board.
I see. Very good.
It's mainly cues now. Because the other thing I will say about Tesla, which is not usual in the films, I believe he was a very religious man in his own particular way. And I believe everything he did, he saw as in service of God and of bringing man and nature together. That's what he saw his life as being.
The deist line.
It's like the deists, yes.
Wow.
It's so interesting, the connections between Bridges and Paine and Tesla. They keep coming up.
That's wonderful.
And in his demise in, was it 1943? 43. He was pretty much broke. He was in a hotel room, famously in the New Yorker Hotel on 8th Avenue. He was evidently, there was some sort of arrangement where one of the huge corporations that spawned from his invention took care of him till the end.
Well, yeah, Westinghouse.
Westinghouse,
yes.
Okay. So, but then his death was under mysterious circumstances. I mean, maybe it's all mythology, but that soon after he died, although he lost much of his research early on in that fire in his lab, which wasn't suspicious.
We don't quite know why.
But when he died, his safe in his hotel room was emptied out.
Oh,
is that true? Is there any truth to that?
Well, the government sealed the room and basically took almost everything in the room to a naval base, where they kept it until 1956. Going through all the papers.
Area 52?
Yeah. Mainly looking for the death ray,
Holy
I think.
Mackerel.
Which they never found, really.
Suggested photographs of a white pigeon, perhaps.
Yeah, right. All that. It was in 1956 that they actually returned all these. I have photographs of the trunks to Serbia. But they kept them for that long because they thought he had something dangerous that they wanted to have.
Wow. And eventually his belongings, his effects, his remains were brought back to his homeland.
There's a museum in Belgrade.
Isn't it interesting that, you're not seeing Edison named after new startup companies, but you are finding Tesla named after. Is that because he's a folk hero, or Edison would sue?
What you see are hundreds of Edison elementary schools. You don't see Tesla elementary schools. They're all Edison. And that to me is very interesting.
So in the minute we have left, the parallels between Paine and Tesla, pretty interesting when you think about it now. What stands out to you?
I think, well, two things. One is the determination to speak what you see as the truth, whatever the consequences. And the second is this connection to nature. That Tesla said the job of a scientist is like a farmer to cultivate from nature. And Paine was a deist.
Beautiful. Yeah, I have recorded things in the Tesla building in New York. Right.
Well, we're out of time. Ian Ruskin, what a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much.
We would
love and look forward to seeing the Tesla show. And good luck with the Paine performances overseas. That sounds terrific.
That should be very
they're
exciting.
going to be incredible.
And thanks for keeping these brilliant people alive. I think they're more than relevant.
We'll keep doing the show. And when I'm going to do a gig of Tesla, I'll come back and tell you about it.
Please do.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Please do.
But that was fun.
Bravo.
Thank you. All right, Phil, we'll see you next week.
Oh, I hope so.
Sexy Boomer Show.
You
I'm
don't
Ted
get
Bonnet.
washed away.
And Phil Proctor. See you next week.
Ted Bonnet.